Hello, welcome. We are doing section 6.1 today, which should be page 198 in your note guide. Make sure I always put the date. It's still November, someday, 2020 for me. Starting with ratio. So we're going on to a different section. Today we were doing a lot of triangles before. Today this section is going to be a lot of ratios and setting up equations and stuff like that. A ratio is a comparison of two quantities. It can be represented as a fraction, so you could write it as like A over B. You could write it as A to B, or you could write A colon B, which means A to B as well. So there's different ways you could write a ratio, and ratios can be simplified. So make sure that if it can be simplified, you simplify it. Okay, so now trumpets to violins. Go ahead and look at this section. Can you set up trumpets to violins? So I have 40 trumpets, 24 violins. Now again, it can be simplified. So if you can simplify it, there's common factor. Divide by that factor of 4. I end up with 10 to 6. Oh, and I see that, oh wait, I didn't simplify quite far enough. Make sure you simplify completely. I can simplify by 2 again. So I actually end up with 5 to 3. Which means I could have simplified from the beginning by 8. So if you see your largest factor, simplify by that one to begin with. If you don't see it, just remember to keep simplifying. So over here we have flutes are 51, to clarinets, which are 24. Now there is a common factor here of 3. 5 plus 1 is 6, letting you know that 6 is divisible by 3. This is going to be divisible by 3. We end up with 17 to... I wrote that wrong. Clarinets were 39. Are you able to catch that? Mistakes galore. Yeah, make sure you're really careful. 39 clarinets, not the 24. Again, still divisible by 3. 39 divided by 3 will give me a 13. So there we go. Trombones to trumpets. Trombones are going to be 16 trombones to 40 trumpets, divisible by 4, also divisible by 8. So again, look for the largest one if possible, 2 to 5. Violins to total instruments. So violins are going to be 24. Total instruments, you want to add up all those numbers together. We have 40, 39, 24, 51, 16. Add those together, you should get a total of 170. Divide that, simplify by 2, we get 12 to 85. And that's really as far as you can go. So I wrote those all in the same format. Again, any of these formats up here would be just acceptable in this case. Now an extended ratio is when you compare, so a ratio is 2 quantities. An extended ratio is when you compare 3 or more. Three or more quantities. An extended ratio, though, you can't really write as a fraction if there's 3 numbers, or A to B to C to D. You usually use the colon for that. So it would be A to B to C, and so on. So we're going to do some of these examples down here. The ratio of 2 complementary angles is 3 to 7. Find the measure of both angles. Now when I see the word ratio, it should tell to me that I have a multiplier. So when I see ratio, I know that I'm going to have a multiplier, and if it's 3 to 7, that means 3 plus 7 complementary. So complementary are 2 angles that add up to 90. Now 3 plus 7 obviously adds up to 10, not 90. You have to use a multiplier here, so it's actually 3x plus 7x. And you solve for x to know what you multiply by. So this is actually 10x equals 90. My multiplier here is 9. So my angles are going to be 3 times 9 and 7 times 9. Plug that multiplier in here. 3 times 9 is 27. 7 times 9 is 63. My angles are 27 degrees and 63 degrees. And those add up to 90, so you can check and make sure you did it correctly. I'm going to go ahead and do 7. You guys do 6 and 8 on your own. Ratio of the measures of the angles in a triangle. Angles in a triangle are 4 to 7 to 9. Now, angles in a triangle are going to add up to 180. It tells me I have a ratio, so that means I need a multiplier here to figure out what the actual values are. 7 plus 9, I get 16, 4, I get 20x equals 180. I end up with x equals 9. So I have 4 times 9 is 36. 7 times 9 is 63. 9 times 9 is 81. These are the measures of the angles. Angles add up to 180. You can always add them together. 9, 10, 14, 15, 17, 18. So it worked. It gave me 180 degrees. My angle measures are these 3 angles here. I'm going to pause the screen and work out the other 2. You guys go ahead and pause it and come back and check those. Here are 6 and 8. Hopefully you guys did really well. Check over it, see if you understand the work. Supplementary adds up to 180. Measures of an angle of a triangle add up to 180. And on this one, it only asked for the largest angle. So I didn't have to find all the rest of them. All I needed was a 110. I'm going to pause and go to the next page. Okay, so here we are on the next page. Again, it says the ratio of the measures of the sides of a triangle are 2 to 8 to 9. So again, it's a ratio, so I have to have a multiplier. Put that on the wrong slide for a minute. Now, it does tell me, however, I don't know what the sides of a triangle have to add up to. There's not like a set number. It's not like 180 every time or 90 every time. So it has to give me more information. If the perimeter of the triangle is 76, and that's what I need to know that those all are going to add up to 76. So I add these together. I get 19x. I'm going to pause for 1 second. So here we go. I had 19x equals 76. You can divide that and you get x equals 4. So you're going to plug that into each of these because you want to find the length of each side. 2, 8, and 9. Plug a 4 in each of those. So I end up with 8 inches, 32 inches, and 36 inches. Go ahead and finish the next one. Okay, so here we go. We had 10x, 15x, 6x, 217. Solve, I got x equals 7. This one only wanted the shortest side, so I can plug it back in here to the shortest side, which had to be the 6, to get 42. The next part of today's notes is going to be writing what's a proportion. Now, a proportion is when you take 2 ratios and you create an equation. An equation that states 2 ratios are equal. A proportion is written as A over B equals C over D almost every time. You can always do a cross product of this, which most of you are probably familiar with. You cross multiply. So I'm going to do A times D equals B times C. So you multiply across and you can solve it that way. So go ahead and solve some of these. I'm going to do 11 with you. My cross product, so remember multiplying across, I'm going to do 2 and x. I'm going to make 2x. I want the variable over here on the left, so I'm going to do that one first. The next one here is going to be 4 times 7. 4 times 7, end up with 2x equals 28, and x equals 14. We're just solving the proportion, you're just solving for x. Do the same thing with 12. I'll come back and I'll give the answer to you for that one in a moment. I'm going to go to 13. 13 is a step more difficult. The reason is because you have this expression over here. So it's really 19 times x minus 1 equals 6 times 13. Well, I'm going to distribute here. I get 19x minus 19. 6 times 13 is 78. Add 19 over here, so I'm going to get that variable by itself. I end up with 19x equals 97. Now, depending on the problem and what you're doing and what book you're using and what they're asking you to do in ALEKS, you can divide here. I would get x equals 97 over 19. That's a fraction answer. That's perfectly acceptable if that's what they're looking for. You could also put a decimal answer, so if you plug this in your calculator, and it doesn't say, but usually you go to the 10th, so I'm going to say it's approximately 5.1. Either of those answers are justifiable. The next one I'm going to do, and I'm going to come back and give you the answers for all of them in just a moment. So if you want to try 14, 15, 16, 17, they are all really great practice. 18 down here I'm going to do, because it's got two expressions. So I'm going to do 6 times 3x plus 3 equals 7 times x plus 16. I end up with 18x plus 18 equals 7x plus 112. I'm going to subtract 7 over here. I'm going to get an 11x. Now I'm going to take the 18, I'm going to subtract it over here, so I have the variable on one side, the number on the other. When I subtract 18, I get 94. Now it's not even, so again I can do x equals 94 over 11 is a perfectly acceptable answer, and it's even better, it's more exact. But if you're going to use a calculator and estimate and they want you to give a decimal, it's approximately 8.5. I'm going to pause and come back and give you the answers to the rest of these, so I want you to practice on your own and then come back and check. Okay, welcome. So here are the rest of the answers on this page that I didn't complete to begin with. So you can go through and see the work, check to see if you did them correctly, how'd you do. Please come to office hours if you need to. Again, cross multiply, divide, and solve your multi-step equations. Good luck, have a fabulous day, and I will see you next time.